The fabulous 40 motel slouched in the sun, its red brick walls casting long shadows on the cracked tarmac. A rusted pickup from the 50s held a sign in its bed, the number 66, coloured in with the red, white and blue of the stars and stripes. Milton had been following Route 66 as it wound its way west through Middle America. He'd taken his time, driving 100 miles each day and stopping off every night in the towns and cities along the way. Joplin, Tulsa, Elk City, Shamrock, and finally Amarillo. The motel was to the west of the city, just off the highway. It was next to the Midpoint Cafe, its retro arrow-shaped signs stabbing into the endless blue sky like a relic from a better time. The low-slung black and white building looked freshly painted, but the details told its age. Faded decals of Route 66 shields were stuck in the windows, sun-bleached from decades of exposure. A few pickups and sedans had been left in the parking lot. Milton had parked his food truck there too, and headed over to it to make sure everything was as he'd left it. He'd bought it in Oak Ridge, with the intention of driving west to the Pacific, working along the way to keep his funds topped up. He'd given it a deep clean after his last stop at the State Fair in Oklahoma City, throwing out the perishables so that the only ingredients left were the ones that wouldn't spoil. Everything looked just as he'd left it, so he locked up again and went into the cafe. He'd visited it for dinner the night before and had been pleased to find it exactly as he'd hoped. Formica counters, swivel stools with leather seats and chrome fixings bolted to the floor, a Coca-Cola refrigerator, a jukebox in the corner. It was just the same this morning, save the neon that had washed over everything before was unable to compete with the glare of the morning sun. He'd had a burger, finishing with a plate of what was possibly the best apple pie he'd ever tasted, and had run for 10 miles this morning to burn off the calories. The exercise had helped him work up a fresh appetite. He took an empty booth and pointlessly skimmed the laminated menu. He already knew what he wanted. The waitress, her badge identified her as Dawn, smiled as she came over. She had served him last night, and with the place a little quieter then, she'd spent 15 minutes quizzing him on his accent and what he was doing in Texas. "Morning, John. How was the motel?" "Can't complain. Slept like a baby." "Get your run in?" "I did." "How far?" 10 miles. "No. In this heat?" "Not so bad early on." "Where'd you go?" "Up to Adrian and then north, then turned around and came back." "Not much to see up there." "Nearly stepped on a rattlesnake." "You get those in England?" He smiled. "Definitely not." She leaned against the edge of the booth. "What can I get for you?" "Pancakes, please." "Bacon?" "Nice and crispy." "Coffee and juice?" "Please," he said, "orange juice." "Black, no sugar?" You remembered. "Coming up."